Hey, how you doing? I'd like to talk a little bit about this photograph right here. The History Channel a while back did a show called Unidentified, and in part of that show they had this image on here, and they claimed that they had reason to believe that it was alien ship, something along those lines. They had reason to believe that it might be a UFO that had crashed. I gotta disagree with that just a little bit. Let me show you where this thing's located at. This is tip of South America right here, and it's on this island down toward the southern end of the island. It's not very hard to find, actually. It's a real volcanic area down through here. A lot of volcanoes. With a lot of volcanoes, you're going to have a lot of tunnels under the ground, lava tubes, chambers, etc. Now, this one here, they don't know what this one is. Okay, if you want to say this is some kind of alien tech or UFO type people or whatever that, put this structure here, first thing you're going to do is go down there and find out what it is. You're going to climb all over it, and that's exactly what they did. They did not know what this was, so they went down there and started checking it out. And that's what leads me to believe that they know what this is. They know exactly what this is, and I don't think they're down there checking it out. There's not that first footprint, and that's for a reason, I'm sure. Now, the one with all the footprints all over it, it's clear down here in this area here, and this is kind of a warmer area down here. I'll show you something on that sometime. But the one with all the footprints is clear down here, and the one without the footprints is clear up here. Now, examine this area here that they're claiming where it crashed at. I'm just not buying that at all. I think what they're doing is they're covering up something else. They're saying it's something that crashed, and if it was, like I said, they would be on that like white on rice. This has been there for years. I think the first image of it, it appears in 2010. And still to this day, there's not a footprint anywhere around that thing. So if you look at this a little bit close here, in my opinion, if this was a rock slide, okay, that some people claimed at first that it was, then you would see debris from up above. You wouldn't see debris behind it anywhere. And if it did fall from up above to get up enough steam to really go anywhere, there would be trails of this debris. These are large rocks. They didn't just, pop out right there. If it's a rock slide, they would have had to have come down from up above, and they would have left a trail of some kind, especially when you consider how many rocks there are here. These are large boulders, some of them. Now, here's a side view image of it, and in my opinion, it came out of the mountain right about in here. It came out of the mountain. That's what I'm saying. Went downhill, back uphill slightly, then back downhill where it came to a stop. This object is a couple 100 feet long, whatever it is. If the History Channel is claiming that it's a UFO crash, okay, did it make a belly flop right here and start going? It would have tumbled, in my opinion, end over end, had it come down at that much of an angle. It would have had to have shifted around as it flowed along, on down the mountainside there. Now, another thing is, if it crash landed right here, why is there debris back behind it? That wouldn't make any sense to me. It's not going to kick out material backwards if it's going in that direction off to the left. See what I'm saying here? There's debris all back out behind us here. If this is the impact site that they're claiming, and this thing came down like that, then why is there debris behind it? If it's a rock slide, there should be debris up through here, where it came down from. All these rocks and boulders, there's not a trace of it coming from anywhere except for underneath this snow. So what I think this thing is a rather large boring machine that going through those chambers under the ground, possibly the lava chambers and tubes, it hit a place where there was no resistance. In other words, this thing may be self-propelled, so to speak. I'm sure they have control of it or whatever, but nonetheless, it's got to have a drive unit of some kind to push it forward, no matter what. So I think what might have happened is something on that machine broke, or it hit a soft spot, and it just walked itself right out of that frickin' mountain there and kept on going until it hit something and snapped the blade in the front. Again, here is a view from behind it, and you can clearly see, in my opinion, that it's coming out of the mountain. And if it's got a blade or a circular saw, so to speak, on the front end of that thing, it would stand to reason that it kicked out a lot of material when it first burst out of the mountain in several directions. And then it kept on going downhill, which explains the debris field. This is about halfway down the mountain looking at it. And if it came down the mountain right here, like I said, there would be a trail of some kind, but there isn't. There's debris back here. And if it crash landed hard like that, seems like to me, like I said, it would have tumbled or, shifted its position. It wouldn't have just glided and drove on down across the mountainside there. Now, when I first saw this a year or two ago, I went to it immediately and went to ground level and got on the very end of what this object is, a couple 100 feet long here, whatever this is. And I look back here, this looks like a gouge as it came downhill. It's a little deceptive here. This goes back over the hill and then back up this way. But as it came over this ridge right here and down, I think the blade on the front of it might have, scraped the ground right here, which might have been the final damage to the nose of that machine that caused it to come to a stop. Because when it did come to a stop, you can see here this circular pattern right here, which is indicative of a boring machine or a tunneling machine. And this would be the axle of that blade in the front that gouged the ground back up the hill there and then snapped it off. And it finally, fell to the ground 90 degrees, and it made its last spin right there, and it caused it to come to a stop. This is wider than this trail here. So this thing was up above the ground, you know what I'm saying, at a 90-degree angle above the snow. And then when it got to here, it finally fell over and made a last turn right there in the snow. I believe that's within the realm of possibility. It's more feasible, in my opinion, than an aircraft, or an alien craft of some kind crash landed there. The impact site does not indicate that, in my opinion, at all. And I think right here is where the gouge happened when it came down over this hill, gouged that blade in there, which really messed up the drive mechanism, and then it, fell over right here and came to a stop. Now, when I first saw it, like I said, I went to ground level. I could stand on top of this thing and look back. That's where that first image comes from, looking back toward the mountain here. You go there and try to do that today, and this is what you get. invisible. Maybe that's why they're saying it's a UFO, because it's casting a shadow right here, right? But there's no object there anymore. So maybe it went invisible. I guess maybe that's what they're going on, right? So anyway, I think the disinformation is to keep everybody from realizing that what they're doing is um, removing debris from these areas like this right here. And the easier way, other than flying them out of there with these harsh conditions down there, since there's so much material or objects, artifacts, whatever it is they're taking out of there, you've got to have an easier way to get them out of there without being seen and without having to put up with the weather conditions. So the best thing to do is simply tunnel your way out of there. In other words, put everything on transport vehicles and drive them underground back up to Central America, I mean South America there, and then fly them wherever you got to go, Christchurch or wherever they're taking all this stuff over by Australia. But I just don't believe it's a crashed UFO at all. I think they're just covering up the fact that they're using these tunnels to remove a lot of artifacts from that area down there. Speaking of things that are down there, I came across this a year or two ago. Uh, this is about a mile and a half long. These are huge buildings, if not generators of some kind. I mean, when I first found them, I put it on ground level. I walked all over these things. These are clearly machines. There were 90-degree angles everywhere. Of course, this curved area here, but I mean in the front went down, straight down. These are straight angles here. These are machines or buildings of some kind. And when I go back there today to look at it, it's been camouflaged so bad I can't get in there and look at it any better than what you're seeing right here. So I'm going to keep trying to figure out how to get around their camouflage that they've got going on there, and see if I can't get some better images of it. But there are some fascinating things down there, and they're just absolutely covering it all up. And for what reason, I don't have a clue. I mean, that stuff's there. Um, why cover it up? It's not like anybody's going to go running down there and 70-degree below zero weather with 100-mile-an-hour winds for a sightseeing tour or something. So I just don't see any reason for all the cover up. But that's big business, big government. So what are you going to do? Let me know what you think. That's just my 2 cents worth on what was going on with that particular thing that they happen to say there on the unidentified show. But anyway, thanks for having a look, and talk to you later. Take care.